2 minutes to go. Take your seats. Maybe we can even start earlier than 3.
Yeah, it's good.
No, we cannot.
No, no, no.
You can see like right after the seat there. I know. I just see there.
One minute, people. 1 minute. It's 3. Elisa, all good? No, you still... okay, we'll wait. Elisa?
Okay, I will begin with the roll call. I have AFIP Austria, EPSA Bulgaria, CPSA Croatia, CIPSA Cyprus, CPSA Czech Republic, SOP Denmark, ANAC France, BPSC Germany, GPSF Greece, LPSA Latvia, SFD Lithuania, KNP Sweden Netherlands, VFSO Belgium delegated, KNP Sweden Netherlands, BPSA Poland, Portugal, Hospital Romania, NAPSO Serbia, SPSA Slovakia, Hospital Slovenia, FEF Spain, ASM Switzerland, UPSA International Turkey, UPSA Ukraine. Please hold your voting cards high.
Hi. Elisa?
Elisa section, there are 22 voting members present.
I resume the standing orders.
Thank you. And we will continue with the agenda. First, we will be taking the report of the advocacy platform coordinator. We moved it because Jorn could not, has to leave like at a certain time. Jorn, can you hear us? Amazing.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I will read the motion. The 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the following Annual Congress Report 2022-2023 Advocacy Platform Coordinator. And I open the floor for discussion. Anef?
Pauline, Anne France. So you remember what we said yesterday. So we identified 3 programs the lack of dynamic in the APR meetings, to do not highlight the work of a national association, and also to not react to really important issues such as drug shortages. So we do not think we can accept your report because there is too much lack, and we didn't get the chance to even make a position paper or to highlight our work. Even we had many documents on it, so we are disappointed of the work with the APR meeting, and we do not think we can accept that.
Thank you. Are there any other points? KNPSV with a new point.
Eline, KNPSV the Netherlands, thank you for raising your concerns. ANEP, we think they are very serious, and indeed these are things that could have been improved by the specific position holder. However, we just want to say something in general to the whole GA about this discussion regarding the report, since we feel like relatively a lot of reports are now put under discussion to not accept them, which it's very good that we're really critical. But we also feel like maybe this is a like response after the suggestion from the president, which actually we highlighted more, so maybe the fault is on us. Because the thing is, you need to really realize what happens if you do not just accept this report, because that's why we asked it. Not only do they not get the team fund, but it's not just about money, it's also about the position holder and their motivation. Because if you do not accept their report, imagine for the coordinator as well. We feel like, for example, in this case, Jorn does mention that he still has some plans for the rest of his mandate. And if you do not now accept his report, by the way, not necessarily stating that we're 100% saying you should accept it, but just saying if it doesn't get accepted, we really think there's such a big risk of this coordinator to drop out, and also the other coordinators. So we just really want you to take that into consideration, the significance of what you're thinking. So if you have more concerns, speak up, because otherwise we just don't think it's fair for the position holder that you're just going to vote against it without really explaining why or what you plan to do with it. Sorry for the long point, but we think it's really important.
Thank you. We have a direct from Gabriel.
Gabriel, President, I just wanted to state that when I speak, it's not the President speaking, it's the EPSA executive and the EPSA team. And also, we have not issued any suggestion or recommendation. We don't want to influence your vote at all. We just wanted you to have an informed, we wanted for you to be informed about everything that happens, how it will happen, and how it will affect team members in the team at a personal and at a work-related level. So if you were under the impression that we were recommending you something or recommending you to do something, we apologize. We don't want to influence your vote.
Thank you. Apef, is that still a direct to Gabriel? No? Put it as a new point? Yes. KNPSV?
Eline, KNPSV Netherlands, I'm not talking about what you said during GA, I'm talking about your report that you wrote as a president. In there, you're saying that it's the LS's responsibility to also be assertive to the coordinators, and even mentioning that there's a possibility to not accept the reports. That's why I mentioned it. Please stick to the facts.
Thank you. Apef?
Beatriz of Portugal. Our concern is more related to accountability than anything else, because not accepting a report is something very serious, yes. Team fund is also on the table, yes, but accountability for people's work is a very big their own actions and what they propose themselves to do and what not. So we really think that this is a serious matter, and the KNP's comment on this, it's not actual something that it resonates with us.
KNPSV?
KNPSV the Netherlands, we totally understand what you mean. It's very difficult now because now it seems like a black and white situation of accepting yes or no. It's just that we fear that, for example, with accountability, if you vote no, it will mean that the person just becomes even less active and responsive. So you're not really getting the result you want, because we agree that we want more, like we want them to be accountable for what they did, we want them to improve, but we just feel like now the suggestion of yes or no, accepting a report isn't actually getting like to the point that you want. That's what we believe.
Thank you. Anep, I'm sorry, I didn't see your direct, but you can have a new point right now. Sorry.
Pauline and France, we really understand your concern, but is it exactly the point of having reports and to vote on them if we do not agree with all the work he was doing? Because we made position paper, we made a lot of work regarding drug shortages, for example, but not only. But I will focus on this point. And because of not having the AAG meetings before not having dynamic APR, we cannot use it, we cannot advocate for at the European level, I can only advocate for at the national level. So yes, it is really important. So yes, we cannot accept that. If we'll accept that, it will happen again, and it is too important to just drop it and say, okay, it was enough, it was not enough.
Thank you. I see no other new points on the list. KNPSV.
Elena KNPC Netherlands, we also just want to stress that right now it's a difficult situation because we are also just talking about yes or no accepting reports in general, but we're technically talking this specifically about the advocacy platform coordinator, which makes it a difficult argument and discussion but then a point I want to raise is that you raised some very, very good concerns, and we agree with what you're saying, that it wasn't good enough. But the only problem is that, like, you, Anif, did a lot of work, like, compliments. So much work, so many suggestions, you were super active. But also, the advocacy platform coordinator also needs to live a bit off of feedback and input from other APRs. And for example, right now we just feel like it's not equally represented because you did so well, you gave feedback, he did not do anything with that. But there's other APRs who gave maybe nothing, didn't say anything, didn't read reports, didn't speak up, didn't ask questions in the forums. So that's just also a risk that you're really coloring one picture from one side. And that is just, I think, a real danger to the entire EPSA team if that's what's going to happen, where one association is just, like, it has a very good, strong point and others will only just listen to that.
Anep.
Pauline and France, we totally agree with you. We did not say to other countries to vote against. We say that for ANEP it is not acceptable, and we show our point of view. And after every country will represent their own people, we represent French people, we have a concern and matter, and we say it out loud, and now every country will do what they want, but for ANEP it is not acceptable.
Thank you. APEF with a new point.
Beatriz Alpha, Portugal. Going a little off-road with this because we're here now to discuss your specific report and everything and his behavior and work throughout the whole mandate. Can we ask PC like how Jorn has done according to regulations, if there's anything you can say?
We will need a minute break. Not a minute, probably more, but a little break to discuss.
Michał PC, sorry for taking a while. So as PC we can say that we did release a letter of concern to Jorn and the respective executive position about the work during the mandate. It was issued in November. We wanted to highlight that there was a breach of regulation in terms of torso subpoint 8222 and to fulfill the described task of the appointment position as specified in the regulations. About this, we also I also reached out to Jorn a couple of times in terms of the minutes that were already blocked during this GA. So as the APRs probably know, there were no minutes released, and this is also a deadline that is regulated by the regulations. I also liaise with Katerina, VP, and whole executive in terms of any task management issues and any meetings if they appeared with Jorn. And I think that would be it from our side.
Elisa section, only the first APR meeting minutes were released.
Sorry, this is my bad then.
Thank you. Then I see no other new points. KMPSV?
Eline KMP to the Netherlands, since there's no other points raised, we really would like to ask the other member associations to also speak up about what they think, or at least then if one association suggests leaning towards one point, show your emotion cards, because we think it's really a waste of GA to just keep it so anonymous and like to have basically not even state your opinion and then just let it be just to the voting. We think that's a real waste because we're talking about a very serious topic now.
Clarification from Gabriel. Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, just to state that the vote will not be anonymous unless you request that it is. The reports are usually open votes, but you can always request it.
KMPSV? Sorry, there is a clarification from CCPSA.
Dominika CCPSA, Czech Republic. So if we accepted this report and Johan promised that he would fulfill everything that he hasn't yet, and it would still be possible if he didn't fulfill it to not accept the last report and like with the same consequences. Thank you.
Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, the acceptance of the last report is up to the executive, the newly elected executive. So technically, it would be possible not to accept that report, but it's not up to the member associations. It's up to the newly elected executive, and they will be basing that discussion mostly on the handover period and how the work was conducted, not really how the work throughout the year was done.
Thank you. Then we had the KNPSV. I put it as a new point because it was, yeah.
Eline KP Netherlands, just to stress, I know it's not anonymous, but everyone should raise their voting cards at the same time as PC keeps mentioning, which is also not always done. So it's kind of like, then it's too late to listen to each other because that's not what you're supposed to do then. So it's not anonymous, but it's more like rude, we find, that you're just not, you're making such a drastic decision without informing anyone on why you're doing it. That's what we believe.
Thank you. Jorn, we saw your point. We put you on the agenda. We had first a clarification from XVI.
Anita Slovenia, so if we understand it right now, we are discussing if he has to change the report and then we accept it at the next GA, or if we are dropping the report or accepting the report.
Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, no. If you wanted to have changes to the report, like we said yesterday, you would have needed to lay the points on the agenda until a later stage in the GA and given Jorn some time for him to change it, because it can't be voted in an online list meeting. It needs to be during the GA, and now we're the last day of the GA, a few hours away from ending it. Regardless, you can ask to change the report if you feel like it doesn't reflect the work done. But if the case is you're unsatisfied with the work, that doesn't require a change to the report. The motion at hand now is for accepting or not accepting the report as it is. If it's not accepted, it will not be changed. It will just be noted down that it was not accepted. If you really think that it needs to be changed, we regret that you didn't say it earlier, because, like we said, it would, if we only discussed it next GA, it would delay everyone's reimbursements until November instead of August. But yeah, and we wouldn't be able to close our financial year on time.
Thank you. Now, Anep with a new point. Oh, direct from KMPSC.
And in the KMPSC Netherlands, yeah, just to add on it, that's why I also already was asking about it at the beginning of GA with regards to changing the report, and that's going to be really difficult right now. But, you know, the report could have preventatively been changed if you would have voiced your opinion, which clearly hearing from Anef, they did, but like to look at yourself in the mirror, did you voice your opinion on his work previously? Did you fill in the question form for the coordinators before, or did you just show up to this GA, listen to concerns raised, and now made an opinion? Think about that.
Thank you. Anef?
Pauline, Anne France. We just want to add that we had a very high expectation for the APM meeting and also for the Advocacy Action Group, so that's why we will vote against, and we are very disappointed. But again, we encourage other associations and countries to vote for themselves and to think it is really important as for them as for us. So just vote for your country, and if we have this point of view, but keep your in mind.
Thank you. Then we have a new point from Jorn.
Jorn, Foxy Platform Coordinator. Yeah, I also wanted to talk a bit and to share my share some words with you as well. I just heard that I was allowed to speak here as well, so that's great. Yeah, about the concerns, I fully see and recognize the concerns that you are talking about. Like I mentioned yesterday as well, I fully accept that mistakes have been made and expectations have not been met. However, I do have, I think, very solid points to improve for the rest of the mandate, and also to implement a solid handover. And yeah, also the points that were raised about making the APR meetings more engaging and more more interactive. They were talked about before, but they were really concrete ideas, and plans were made only in the last APR meeting. And I think it would be a good idea to also implement those first and carry that out that we talked about, because there has not been an instance yet where we could do this. Yeah, then something else that I wanted to mention is that there's also the 6th team meeting report that I thought you could vote on as well. If it would, yeah, I don't know if it's possible or anything, but if you would, I don't know, would it be a possibility that you vote if the executive accepts my 16 meeting report, so that you can still see the improvements for a upcoming time, and then you would still, kind of have a say in whether it's accepted or not?
Executive? Marlene? Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, maybe this is a technical, but I think Joran was asking the members if it was okay if that's for them. It wouldn't even be us voting as an executive, so we don't have an opinion on this. We don't want to make any commitment, nor will we.
Okay, there was a clarification from APEF.
So I just didn't understand the proposal and what is being proposed here.
So, Joran, I will repeat it so that and confirm it to me if it's correct. You are proposing to the member associations to vote on your 16 meeting report, if they are okay with voting on your 16 meeting report instead of the executive, the newly elected one. No? Could you, yeah, go ahead, Joran.
Jordan, Fox Platform Coordinator. Yes, I think that's what you just said is what I meant. That because since what I was trying to say is that a lot of the changes and improvements that have been proposed have been concretized in last APR meeting, and I think there is still a lot of progress we can make and improvements that I can make in the time of between now and the 16 meeting report. So I was proposing whether it would be possible that that the member associations kind of have a say in if my 16 meeting report gets accepted, which would mean that they would still have to say in approving my work or disapproving my work, but then it would also allow me to have a moment to implement the improvements that I'm proposing.
Thank you, Jan. Technical from Miha, or point of information actually.
Michal PC, so according to the EPSA reports handbook, this is chapter 3.5 that lists the types of EPSA team reports. The 6/1st team meeting report is not accepted by a General Assembly but must be approved by the incoming EPSA executive during the first team meeting of the upcoming mandate as a prerequisite for the team fund.
Thank you. EPSA, do you still have a clarification dropped? Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, so as you heard from what Mihai just explained, for this proposal to happen, we would need to suspend regulations so that we could go against them. And we, as an executive, are against this procedure because we think you should be able to take the decision with the information that you have now without going around the regulations.
Thank you. And we'll proceed on to the list of new points. We first have CCPSA, followed by PPHD.
Dominic visited PSA Czech Republic. So in our opinion, we fully agree with what Anna said, and there were a lot of mistakes in Joran's work. But when it comes to our association, the advocacy work, unfortunately, is not so big. So we just needed new ideas, we needed some push to start doing something, and we got that. So therefore we want to vote for accepting his report. But at the same time, we would like to ask if they are here, the next executive, to really think about their decision in the first team meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have BPHD, followed by AFUP.
Nina, BPHD Germany. I would just like to say that we will also vote for the report because for us not accepting a report is a really harsh measure, and we would only do that if there was actual harm done. We don't see any going forward during this mandate, but we also don't see any steps backwards. So that's why we want to say.
We have a technical from Alex in the back.
Can we have a couple of minutes technical break because we need to ensure the live stream is going okay?
Yeah. No? Okay. try to fix it, but we will continue since we don't have too much time. Then we have AFOP.
Elena, out of Austria, we have more of a general statement since we are not yet decided. We have been present at the 63rd GA and similar concerns were raised there, and it seems that nothing has changed since then. In Jorn's work, although improvement has been promised then. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no other new points on the list. KMPSV.
Elena KMPSV, the Netherlands, that's a good point raised by AVO. Maybe Jorn, you can elaborate if you really agree with it, if you see that you have done improvements.
Direct from Jorn.
Jorn, Foxy Platform Coordinator. I think the change that was proposed during the 63rd General Assembly in Porto was a lot also about consistency, and we did manage to find a 7-monthly moment now to have the APR meetings, causing more structure. And in general, the concerns back then were also a lot about the structure, and I think those have well improved also with now with the creation of the Fox platform guidelines, the Fox action groups guidelines, and solid handover position-specific guidelines. So I think there has been progress, but it might have been more on the background and not so visible. Yeah, then regarding the rest, personally I've not been able to be as active as I would have liked to, because yeah, I just didn't have the time, and that's why it might come across as not being that active and following through on the promises. But I think there's been a lot of work that has been done in the background in making a better foundation for the position in general.
Thank you. Just as an information from us, we have reached the time for this agenda point, and we still have the rest of the team reports except training, because we will take training coordinator report after. So I don't want to rush you again, but please, we will probably be making the emergency GA as well, since we don't have, we are very, very late. So yeah, just as an information. Next we have APEF on the new point.
Beatriz, APEF Portugal. You stated that the suggestions about the better development of the APR meetings happened during our last APR meeting, which our last APR meeting was actually at the first day of the Congress, and it was delivered by Katarina, yes, but we would like to ask you, like, if, even though she was the one here in person doing the APR meeting, if the suggestions that we made in the previous APR meeting could not have been implemented.
Jorn?
Jorn, Foxy Platform Coordinator. I was talking about the last online APR meeting that we had and the ideas that were discussed over there.
APEF?
Beatriz, APEF Portugal. Our question is regarding that, is that we had an in-person meeting, which even though it wasn't you that were the one facilitator of the meeting, it's still under your portfolio, so you could have made suggestions based on what we spoke about in the online meeting to Katarina, so they could be implemented and we could see if they had worked or not. So we would want to ask if this was something that you discussed with her regarding the preparation of the meeting in person. If not, why not?
Jorn?
Jorn, Foxy Platform Coordinator. With Katrina, I discussed what we should do for the APR meeting, and we discussed that another speed meeting session would be beneficial as well, since it is interactive, and we also have a lot of new APRs joining us since the last speed meeting, so we decided to do that.
Thank you. I see no other points. KMPSV?
Alien KMPG Netherlands, sorry to be back here again. It's just that we started off with the point about that we find it very serious to maybe not approve a report and never actually said what we thought of this report. We see the concerns, but we agree with what's been said, that there's not actual harm done, and there's still a chance for Jorn to continue and improve. So we will accept the report and indeed also suggest the new elect exec to really critically look at his report. But we believe truly that this very, very, very serious discussion will have been a great warning for Jorn, and you can see that he's still ready to continue his journey. So please do not demotivate someone by then not accepting their report.
Direct from Anef.
Within Anef, we do agree in general, but it was his second mandate with the same position.
Thank you. Now we have a new point from XVI.
Anita Svda Slovenia would like to say that we will accept his report since our advocacy platform wasn't really effective.
Thank you. Apologies, Jorn, I didn't see the clarification. Go ahead.
Oh, your advocacy platform coordinator, I didn't hear what Anef said, and I was wondering if she could repeat.
Could you repeat, Anef?
Pauline Anef France, we said that it was your second mandate in the same position.
Did you hear now?
Yes.
Okay. Next we have Abef.
Bernardo, Abef, Portugal. We would like to ask the executive if they were aware of the dissatisfaction from our part, if there were any warnings during the mandate, and if and what's the normal procedure for these kinds of situations.
Marlene, technical. Quick chat. Marlene?
Marlene BPA. So as for the normal procedure, when we feel like team members are not fulfilling their tasks, normally it starts with either Gabriel or me getting reached out by the vice president or any other person, where we then talk about the next steps. We set up meetings to discuss the team management and how all steps will be forward. We are always including PC in these meetings to see if any regulations are broken, or also because they have most of the time the best overview besides the VP of which tasks are missing. We try to find solutions, and in normal cases we have a follow-up meeting or any check-ins, how it's going, a specified time frame later. As for this case specifically, we did get complaints from members, Katarina and me, in different forms. From I cannot specify a time frame, and we did have throughout the mandate 2 meetings that I already explained. One in the beginning of October and one in December. Don't ask me the specific dates, please. Yeah, I will not say what is in these meetings because it's also a safe space for everybody involved, and I will, not break this confidentiality.
Thank you. I see no other new points. Can we, Gabriel?
Dear President, then I close the floor for discussion.
Thank you. And we will be proceeding on to voting on the motion. Let me just put it on the screen. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Who is against the motion? As I said, don't wait for other associations to vote, to raise your voting cards. And who is for accepting the report? Yes, and we have 17 votes for, 4 against, and 1 abstention, so the report of the Advocacy Platform Coordinator is accepted. And we will be moving on to the next report. The 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the following Annual Congress Report 2022-2023 for Information Technology Coordinator, and oh sorry, I had Jorn with a new point. I will still have your point, Jorn. Go ahead.
Right. Jorn, Advocacy Platform Coordinator. Just before I have to leave again, I would like to thank those of you who voted in favor, accepted my report, for the trust that you placed in me again. And I will just like to let you know that I will not let you down. And for those who voted against, I can see why you did so, and I am looking forward to showing you the improvements that I will be making. And I hope we can then I'll look back at these improvements, and I'll be happy with the end results. Okay, now I'll have to go.
Thank you, Jorn. See you. And now we will continue with the next report, which is from the Information Technology Coordinator, and I open the floor for discussion on the motion. Abef?
Beatriz Apé, Portugal. We would like to raise the concern about this report regarding the work that has been done to the website, because we have spent the whole mandate talking about how the website is not up to date. It still has a lot of problems, and they have not been anything done, or barely anything done regarding this matter. Also, that the Charmaine, in this case, the IT coordinator, was not able to present her report because she just didn't join, at least from what we know. So it's kind of concerning, the lack of accountability for her own work.
Thank you, Gabriel, with a point of information.
Gabriel, President, just to let you know that I did reach out to everyone that was going to be here in these separate reports to tell them that this would be happening. I did get a message from Charmaine. She apologized for the inconvenience.
Yes, and Charmaine is also here with us. Yes. Any other new points? I see none.
Gabriel, President, and I close the floor for discussion.
And we will be moving on to voting on the motion for accepting the IT coordinator report. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Is anyone against? And who votes for? And we have 16 votes for, 6 against, and 0 abstentions. So the IT coordinator report is accepted. And we will be moving on to the publications coordinator report. I open the floor for discussion. Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, just to let you know that I also reached out to Sandra, so did Frey, and we did not get a response.
Any other new points? Isaac KMPSV.
Elena KMPG Netherlands, so we're a bit confused because there were people that suggest, or members that suggested to put this in a different motion, the same as the last one, because concerns were raised, and with the previous one, the concerns were raised, we agreed, so we also voted, and then nobody did their anti-concerns, and you still all vote for, so what makes you vote for? Like, can someone please explain what you feel about this now? Because why did we put it in a separate motion if we're just gonna accept it and not make a remark about it?
Thank you. Anep?
Marion France, we haven't asked for the separation of this report, so I don't know which association, but we vote for because, yes, Charmaine wasn't reachable before, but she was present here if someone asked a question and no question was asked to her. Even if she hadn't made the best report and job, we believe that for the first time for a long time, member association are updating the website, and even if it's not the perfect thing, I think a little progress is there.
Technical from KMPSV.
Elaine KPC, thank you for elaborating. We were talking about this motion now. The IT motion has been voted on. We're okay with it. But we're talking about this now because it seemed that there was going to be silence, and that bothered us because there's a reason someone separated it.
Abef?
Bernardo, Portugal. We can compare both Sandra with Charmaine, but in our case, we don't think that's exactly the right thing because maybe she wasn't here for the reports, and we do think that that is not okay. But the work between them, in comparison between them, the work of Sandra and the work of Charmaine is very different, and we really do think that she delivered everything on time and well, so we are leaning for. Thank you.
Technical from Gabriel.
Gabriel, President, just to state that you shouldn't be voting on the reports as a comparison to each other. It's just if it's acceptable for you or not.
Thank you. Any other new points? I see none on the speaking list. Anep?
Marion France, even if the report of Sandra was not perfect, also would you agree, she managed to publish almost monthly those, so we do believe she has made some work, and even if we do agree that it's not accessible, that a member do not present their report, and yes, it should be dominated, and yes, we should push for it, but we do believe she has made some work. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no other new points. Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, I close the floor for discussion.
Thank you, and we will be proceeding to voting. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Who is against? And who votes for? And we have 22 votes for, none against, and no abstentions. So the motion is carried. Thank you, Hannah. And we will be moving on to the next report, which is Mobility Coordinator. And I open the floor for discussion. PPSA first.
An EPSA point. So can we ask Pim to explain what happened yesterday?
Yes, Pim has the next new point. Pim, go ahead.
The PIM mobility coordinator, I want to be really sorry about yesterday. I was physically just really bad in bed above the toilet. I think you can imagine what was happening all day. And I wasn't aware I had to report yesterday because the things changed in the live GA and I didn't see it clearly. So as soon as I saw that I had to show my report, I reached out to exec, but I also understand that was like maybe not the best communication ever. So I'm super sorry there was confusion over here. I really hope you can ask your questions right now because I heard there were some concerns and I'm here to answer the questions. So please answer the questions. Also, I still really don't feel well, so if you hear me breathing weird or maybe not being as enthusiastic as I normally am, I'm just not feeling well, but I really hope you can ask your questions because that's why I'm here.
Gabriel?
Gabriel, President, also apologies on the side of the executive for not having had all of the information yesterday. Like Pim said, we already talked between us for me better.
Thank you. And are there any other new points? Anef?
Marianne France, so can Pim can present his report now?
Pim, do you want to present your updates? Thank you, go ahead.
PIM mobility coordinator. Since writing the report, PIM has completed the content of the internship mobility booklet, which will be discussed soon with the VPER and the team.
Pim, can you come to the front? Apologies. Technical from Jesus for the.
It's a bit cold for run out the
Yes. I'm sorry. I was too hot and I put it on 19 degrees. Pim, go ahead.
Start over? Yeah.
Go ahead.
PIM mobility coordinator. Since writing the report, PIM has completed the content of the internship mobility booklet, which will soon be discussed with the VPER and also the team, and I hope I will be able to publish it soon after the AC. I gathered information for the financial booklet from the grants coordinator and worked on the exchange booklet. I also prepared a workshop and gave the workshop during the AC on studying abroad. I brainstormed on the mobility week and prepared the handover the handover period. And I attended the 50 meeting and the first attendee session.
Thank you, Pim. Are there any new points? Anef?
Marianne France. Personally, I'm not the twin coordinator for ANEF, but I asked them, and they were pretty bad answer to the question, and they were stating that you were most of the time unresponsiveness and not very proactive. How can you explain that? Thank you.
Pim?
PIM mobility coordinator. Yeah, I think this mainly came during the period after the AA until somewhere in February. I'm not gonna go too personal, but I was personally in a really bad phase back then, and it just didn't really go well with my mental health. And so there was a period where I was off, and that's totally on me. I totally get that. And thereafter, I also had a meeting with some people of the exec and PC. And I tried to improve, and since then, I feel like, especially in the last couple of months, I've really improved my connection with the Twinet coordinators. I'm trying to organize a new Twinet soon. I've sent out more mails, reminders on the regulations. So if you have to fill in reports or how the certificates work, I try to get them up on speed again. And as of now, I'm sure I've replied to everyone, and especially during the last weeks, also within a 3-day period or sometimes during the same day. So I know that there were a lot of struggles after the AA, but thereafter I hope you can all have seen that I have improved, and I still have a lot of plans for the rest of the mandate. I changed all the I have like a new system on how to regulate twinnet coordinators and which twinnets are happening, because before it was just super chaotic and I had no overview because there was none. I now have it implemented. I think it's already voted upon right now. So then now I can finally officially use it. I can use it to contact you, the LSs. I can have a better overview of what's actually happening, who is not active, who isn't active, because for me it's also very hard because I try to connect twinnet coordinators, and as soon as they're connected, they do their thing, that's really good, but then I don't even have an overview anymore.
Marlene?
Marlene, BPA. Maybe as a point of information, we had one team management meeting in January, but also there was a second follow-up meeting, like both in 2023.
Thank you. Direct from AFO.
Elena of Austria, was that the first time the issues were addressed and that you, for him, voiced your problems? Thank you.
Pim?
Pim Mobility Coordinator. The first one was indeed the first time I heard about it. Then I also told the exec that I would just also want to have like a text message or something, that if someone didn't have a reply or anything, that I just got a reminder for it and then could do it, instead of it building up until we have like a team management meeting.
Thank you. Then on the new points list we have APEF.
Beatriz APEF Portugal. Our other concern is regarding the interprofessional twinnet, because it's something that is pushing the boundaries of mobility within the pharmaceutical students, and we didn't see much about it on your report, so we are somewhat concerned because it's already the end of the mandate.
Pim?
Pim Mobility Coordinator. Yes, I'm also concerned about that. During the time I wasn't really feeling well, Katarina and Theo took over to have contact with EPSA. However, before that I reached out to them a lot. Before EPSA was, I had contact with EPSA and EPSA, I believe. But then we went over to EPSA, and I tried to reach out to them, but I didn't get any reaction from them. I sent a reminder, I didn't get any reactions from them, so that didn't really work out. And then I had my period in which I just wasn't okay at the time, so Theo and Katarina took over. And now again we're trying to do something then, and we actually have a proposal now. We have a draft on international, it's called now twinning, so interprofessional twinnets. We are getting comments on that very right now, and we're really hoping to have it accepted in the following couple of weeks, so that will be accepted. So we're actually quite far right now with that, and I'm sorry I didn't inform you about that better.
Thank you. Then we have Anef with a new point.
Marion de France, we do believe it's really important to keep a good collaboration and communication with the twinnet coordinators, especially when problems arise, as it's already happened and twinnet coordinators do not feel enough close to you to reach you, and it can create a real problem. So I do want to encourage you to continue to push them and help them, since it's a very complicated project to put like by themselves, and it's also like the main mobility project of EPSA, and we also permitted like to skate over and stuff like that. So yeah.
Pim?
Mobility Coordinator. Yeah, I can see that now. I just had also some reports which were a warning for me, because there were some things that didn't go well during those twinnets. I think I didn't before I didn't really realize that, because I just saw people doing their job. I didn't get any questions from them, so I just assumed everything was fine. But I now totally get what you mean, that I should be proactive and make sure that if anything is going on, they shouldn't approach me, but I should approach than before that. So I will do that for sure the following couple of weeks, even if it's just a text. However, it's also with like the new way that I can manage the twinets. If I know which twinets are happening, I can also like talk to them and like how is it going, and that now I can finally do that. So I will definitely use that to keep them up to date and to make sure everything is going smoothly.
Thank you. Then we have a new point from PPSA.
Adam PPSA point. So, as until the end of your mandate is still 3 months, are you going to do something with promoting the Twinet project using the EPSA website? Because, as was said before, it's still not perfect, but some things are going on. Like, finally, the information about PPSA that's LS is not carried over. It also was like updated. So like we are, I think we are in good way. So, do you think you can, in cooperation with IT coordinator, do something more with using website until the end of the mandate?
Pim?
Pim Mobility Coordinator. Yes, I actually had a meeting with Charmaine about this. What all the things that I wanted to change, because I saw there were a lot of problems there there were a lot of problems there, and we had a meeting on that. And I'm also planning to like write things more out, because now everything is pretty concise and it's like 2 sentences, and I can really make that work. So I'm already working with that with Charmaine. That will hopefully happen this mandate, but it's also like Charmaine's work. So I'm working on that with Charmaine for sure. And
go ahead.
Pim Mobility Coordinator, and I'm also really trying to promote Twinet, but I wanted to do that during the European Mobility Week, but that will not be during my mandate, but I'll definitely prepare things for that, so that it will happen in September when the Mobility Week will be held.
Thank you. Abef?
Beatriz Abef, Portugal. We want to ask you about mobility as an advocacy topic, because in the beginning of your mandate it was something that was something that you weren't as focused on, and we still think that it's not something that you're taking your position to the fullest potential, and EPSA right now is very big on policy and advocacy, so we really want to ask you and try to make sure that it's on your priority list, even if not for this mandate, on your handover, to make this a priority.
Thank you. Pim?
Pim Mobility Coordinator. Yes, I totally agree. This mandate, I also talked with Jorn about having, I don't know exactly the abbreviation, like an advocacy action group or something like that. However, because I had some other struggles and other things weren't finished yet, together with Theo, we decided to not do it because it was at the moment just too much for me. However, I was trying to do that, but then it didn't work. So I will definitely try to do that. To tell it to our the new mobility coordinator to really do that, because I had intentions to do it, but it just didn't work out right now.
Thank you. PPSA? Oh no, it's a direct from Theo. Go ahead.
VPR, just to add on that me, Pim and Katarina will also answer to a public consultation on mobility in May, so there will be also this part on advocacy.
Thank you. PPSA?
Adam, please in Poland. So I would like to encourage you during your handover period to work on the strategy of improving the website, the promotion of Twinet, and organizing, like, working on website to implement some more Twinet stuff, because newly elected IT coordinator is have lots of big experience in doing website stuff, so I think it may be a good idea to think about doing the handover.
Pim?
Pim Mobility Coordinator. Yes, I definitely will. I also have some extra ideas for you can have like I won't go into this, but I have some ideas, and I will definitely talk to both Charmaine and the newly, I think Clément, the newly appointed IT coordinator. And thank you for your encouragement.
Thank you. I see no other new points. KMPSV?
Eline KMPC, the Netherlands. Since at the end we're not here just to only ask Pim questions, but we're also here to discuss the motion about the report. We just want to say that we think Pim definitely still has a lot of plans that we really want to see put into action. So again, a little bit similar to the case of Jorn and the other reports we accepted, we do want to stress for the new exec as well to really see that those things have been put into action when it comes to accepting that report. But for now, we definitely believe that this report should be accepted. And we're ready to vote, so maybe don't make new points, so then this could just be closed.
Thank you, KMPSV. I see no other new points. Gabriel? And we'll move on to voting. Are there any? Yes, you can go, Pim. Are there any abstentions? Who is against? And who votes for? Technical from APEF. Do you want to redo the vote because you forgot to vote when I said yes? Of course. No shade on that. I will ask again. Are there any abstentions? Who is against? And who votes for? And we have 21 votes for, none against, and 1 abstention, so the motion is carried. And we will move on to the next motion, which is the 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the following Executive Annual Congress Reports 2022-2023. President, Vice President of Internal Affairs, Secretary General, Treasurer, Vice President of Education, Vice President of Public Relations, Vice President of External Relations, and Vice President of European Affairs. And I open the floor for discussion. I see no new points. Gabriel? Thank you, and we will move on to voting. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Who is against? And who is for? And we have 22 votes for, none against, and no abstentions. So we will. The motion is carried, and we will move on to the next motion. And I will need to pass the facilitation to Gabriel.
The motion is the following. The 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the Parliamentary Council Annual Congress Report 2022-2023. I open the floor for discussion on the motion. I close the floor for discussion on the motion. I ask who is against. Are there any abstentions? And who votes for? I have 22 votes for, none against, and no abstentions, so it was approved, and I pass the facilitation to PC.
Thank you. And we will move on to the next motion. The 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the Audit Committee Annual Congress Report 2022-2023, and I open the floor for discussion. I see no new points. Gabriel? Thank you. Then we'll move on to voting. Are there any abstentions? Who is against? And who votes for? And we have 22 votes for, none against, and no abstentions, so the motion is carried. And we will move on to To the next motion, the 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the following annual Congress reports 2022-2023. Events Coordinator, Alumni Coordinator, Educational Affairs Coordinator, Public Health and Social Services Coordinator, Science Coordinator, Design Coordinator, Social Media Coordinator, Professional Affairs Coordinator, Policy Coordinator, and Grant Coordinator. And I open the floor for discussion. I see no new points. Gabriel? Thank you, and I will proceed to voting. Are there any abstentions? Who is against? And who votes for? And we have 22 votes for, none against and no abstentions, so the motion is carried. And we will move on to the next motion. The 65th EPSA General Assembly approves the Annual Congress Report 2022-2023 of the Chairperson of the Reception Committee of the 23rd Summer University. And I open the floor for discussion. I see no new points. Gabriel? Thank you, and we will proceed to voting. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Anyone against? And who votes for? And we have 22 votes for, none against and no abstentions, so the motion is carried. And we will move on to the reports, to the Educational Department report, because we did not manage to take this one, and I will invite Pita to present her updates.
Beatrice, Training Coordinator. So presenting my updates since the submission of my 5th team meeting reports. I have read the team members' reports and asked questions and answered the questions that I got on my report. Arranged the communication and logistics for a training going to be delivered in KNBSP with the trainer and the requester. Continue with the logistics and organization of a TNT in July. Brussels and got the approval of the executive members. Had 2 meetings with 2 trainer candidates and graduated them into EPSA trainers. And currently scheduled 3 more. Submitted to 17 TNT trainer reimbursements and liaised with the organizing committee in regards to submit the financial report and collecting feedback on this collaboration. Worked with Carolina from the trainers board regarding the training weekend event. Continued the assessment with the trainers board member and the current tasks and plans for the following 3 months. Followed up in the trainings delivered in Science Day and in the mentoring project. Coordinated the sending of 3 newsletters to the trainers pool, liaised with the RC for the preparations and in the logistics related to the AC23, continue with the coordination of the trainers who will deliver in the AC23 and all the relating training preparations to be delivered. In the Congress, deliver the training in the AC23 and continue the preparation with the trainers boards and trainer related activities in the Congress, and deliver today a workshop on how to be an EPSA team member.
Thank you, Vita. And I will open the floor for questions, and we first have Marlene.
Marlene, VPA. VPSA United Kingdom sent me a statement. So, on behalf of the VPSA, may I first apologize. So this is from Arthur, VPSA DLS. On behalf of the VPSA, may I first apologize for our absence in this year's GA due to time clashes with examination, and I'm sure a lot of fruitful debates have gone through in the past few days. May I take the honor and opportunity to thank Beatrice, the training coordinator, for her help and support for our first ever Trainers on Tour activity in the United Kingdom. Despite funding issues from both sides, we were managed to provide training in our participants in Eastern Area Conference in Lincoln this year. Something I would like to address is that despite several unexpected cancellations and delayed communications, I must take this opportunity to applaud Beatrice for her prompt response in making sure that the trainer arrives on time, and adjustment when one of our booked time slots had to be changed due to eccentricate. I'm sorry. The BPSA would like to thank the trainer Abida Lutra for her volunteering to be our trainer that day, as well as being the first EPSA team member to join our in-person events. We look forward to producing our first British EPSA trainer in the future.
Thank you. Direct from Bita.
I would also like to applaud as well the initiative from Beatrice Training Coordinator. To applaud the initiative from EPSA UK. It was a followed-up activity that we managed to continue after the AA proposal that I did with DLSs to bring up their own opportunities and continue the training opportunities that we settled there. It was the first. I sincerely hope it's not the last, and I'm really looking forward to continue this and expand more to the UK.
Thank you. Next on the list we have SSFD.
Anita Sofada, Slovenia. So you mentioned that you prepared a training schedule for this IC together with Carol. We were told that the schedule was sent to the trainers only a bit more than 3 weeks prior to the AC. Besides that, the trainers were expected to share the abstract that they had to make with their partner only 1 day after they received the schedule. The deadline to prepare for the trainings was less than 2 weeks long, so overall the organization of work was not appropriate, the deadlines were way too short and the materials were sent late. What is the reasoning behind that?
Bita?
Beatrice Training Coordinator. The preparations of the trainings and logistics for the AC23 were not definitely the ideal. There has been, ever since January, a lot of constraints and limitations to the work that we have been doing. We successfully managed to deliver a TNT in Romania in the first 2 weeks of March, so already 1 month before the annual congress. We had another activity at the end of March, and there were more priorities besides this organization. We encountered a lot of setbacks when it comes to getting the trainers to deliver in this AC. And without the collaboration of the alumni that I personally poked, of the new generation that didn't even register here to be delivering trainings, and they promptly took up this challenge, this is the main reason why, unfortunately, we couldn't even have a set of defined trainers 3 weeks before. We overcome these decisions, this problem is on the list.
Thank you. Then we have Apef.
Beatriz, I'm from Portugal. Like we asked Theo, we can ask the same thing to you about your internship and the reasons that led to the termination. If whatever you can discuss without breaching your contract.
Peter?
Beatriz Training Coordinator. I am, and both Theo as well, aware of the limitations and constraints that we have to apply to when it comes to confidentiality. It was disclosed, as we mentioned, that after my meeting that I had with the human resources, there were clearly some unpredicted situations that led to this, although no big problems mainly happened that led to a sudden closure. It was mainly an accumulation of unforeseen circumstances since November. So my update and take on this is that the sooner that we can collect feedback and actively request for more information and to follow up on the internship, these situations can be prevented long time.
Anep?
Marion, Anep France. We don't believe that being late at work, do not come to the work is like insertive situation that way to be done, like it's some fact for sure, and we would like to know like why you haven't been investing in your internship or like more reason behind it.
Peter?
Beatrice Training Coordinator. Sorry. There was a specific period that I did not attend often in the office. It was mainly for family reasons. I had a passing member on that moment. It was a time period between November and December, and I addressed this specific situation with the human resources responsible. And we talked about the situation that led to my lack of motivation. internal situation that happened organizing events in December with the TNT. There was a lot of pressure, and I had a personal as well situation that led to a periodicity of lack of motivation, including, well, it affects internships as well.
Thank you. New point, direct from APEF.
Beatriz of Portugal. We just want to stress that we know that some things are sensitive to talk about, and it's totally okay for people not to open up as much in the report, but things like what you're saying right now about your at the end of your internship are some serious things that should be said in the report, so we can have a clearer representation of what the situation actually is, to also try and avoid like in-person confrontation when it's not necessary.
Thank you. Then we have a new point from APEF. No? Dropped? Then we have a new point from ANEP.
Marianne, France. As you know, we're organizing the previous TTRAM during May, the 5th to 7th, and it has been pretty a mess to organize the event. We have been reached by the training board to organize it, and it has been completely a mess. Why you were not in the discussion and do not like support the training board to make like things improve and get everything fixed? Thank you.
Beatriz?
Beatrice, training coordinator. The logistical parts and organization of the events are on the wing of one trainers board member that is the member, the events member. In this case, it was a member that already organized plenty of events. He was a vice chairperson of a summer university and was generally comfortable with organizing this. We had experienced a lot of problems when it comes from the engagement of our own trainers pool, and we did not expect this to happen. Having in mind that we had one TNT recently, we had in the last year one TNT in Tour de France, but now we are able to realize that the date of the event was not the ideal, but it was set from the beginning of the mandate already, and we wouldn't change it because we didn't encounter yet these problems. I would like to stress as well that this was an unfortunate situation that we couldn't predict. We worked a lot as well on this organization, and during this period it was simply not what we desired, and we are trying, as you know, and we are adapting to the current situation. We will see now in the following days how can as well. I've been poking a lot of LSs as well, so if you can contribute as well in spreading this activity. We're already spreading the registration for this activity in the Congress, and we're looking forward to continue this effort together.
Thank you. Anep, you had a direct? Yeah, go ahead.
Marion, I'm France. Thank you for your explanation, but we do believe that it's very important to be like more transparent with the members, since now maybe a local association will have a lot of loss. Thank you.
Thank you. I see no other new points on the list, so I think we can continue to the motion on the report. Yes, which reads the 65th EPSA General Assembly accepts the following annual Congress reports 2022-2023, and I open the floor for discussion on the motion. I see no points. Are there any points? Gabriel? Thank you, and we will proceed to voting. I will ask if there are any abstentions. Who is against? And who votes for? And we have 19 votes for, 1 against, and 2 abstentions, so the motion is carried. Yeah, go ahead, Vita, with the final point.
Yes, Beatrice, training coordinator. It has been a hectic mandate. We were able to increase our human resources in the training project, and that is that was and still is my main priority. So I really look forward for the future that we can spread now with our new trainers and continue investing in this project locally and nationally, because it's something that really has impact on students' lives and professional adaptations. So I really look forward in investing more the collaboration with all the LSs here.
Thank you, Rita, and we will continue. To the election of the coordinators 2023-2024, and I will ask the old current executive to switch tables. Gabriel, go ahead. Thank you for the chair. Okay. Yes, that's what I was about to say. Someone please go with the candidates outside. Marlene will.
Recording stopped.
Design.